I think a good conversation to have with yourself, if you're a firm owner, is how many cases are we signing right now a month? Are those serious injury? Are they soft tissue? Whatever your goals are. And you need to say, hey, look, in 6 months, this is where we need to be. And then just working that backwards and saying, okay, well, we actually find that the average case value is $20,000. And we need to do, 10 of these cases a month, more than we're doing now. How do we get those? We know that if it's using website traffic as a metric, we need to generate, or if leads are a metric, for every 10 leads we sign 4 cases, which would be very high. But, if you have a very solid intake system, which is something that we see with the high-performing firms, they're seeing a lot better results as well, and their speed to responding to leads fast. But the point being is you can just reverse engineer that and say, we know that with 1,000 visits, you're getting 10 contacts or whatever that math works out to be. Then you just build the plan to do that, right? And unless you put that kind of attention and build it back that way, you are going to get caught up on what are my rankings today, and or whatever silly metric out there. But there's a lot of bad metrics in this industry.
It's true, and I think a lack of transparency of that as well. So I think transparency is key for both sides of the agency side, and this is something I'm very passionate about, but client side as well. So transparency for agency, transparency for client, no matter who or what type of client you're, whatever. If we're not talking about ROI and we're not talking about those types of metrics and we're being transparent with that, we can't really work backwards.
What metrics?
Like, what do you mean?
What metrics are important for a law firm to track if they want to?
Yeah, I mean, cases, how much a case costs.
Per
People
case?
don't want to talk about, right?
Yeah. They don't want to share that anyway.
Yeah, and it's not something we're really doing with it. Or agencies, maybe some agencies do, but now we can work backwards and say, oh, well, if this is the cost per case and we're getting X amount of leads, this is what we need to work to, or this is where we're at. Okay, maybe we can't work with you because we don't have the volume or the team, The
P&L doesn't lie.
Yeah, that goes both ways. So I think transparency from the client of numbers and where things are at so we can actually do our jobs better, and also giving transparency from us. This is how much you're spending. This is where it all goes, line item by line item, and this is what the data proves from line item by line item.
And obviously we don't have full attribution the way that we would like, but at the end of the day, we can track calls, we can track live chats, text messages, at least from one of their source points on their journey. From an attribution standpoint and model, there's different ways to approach that. But the point is there's a lot of that data there, and you can make solid business decisions and reverse engineer those goals if you just start tracking it.
And I think one thing that's not tracked is probably referrals. Tracking referrals and creating a system that is actually tracking those. Because once they're referred, they're not probably seen. Or are we making a good case?
And brand growth, too, which is that new metric we were talking about tracking for our clients, because, people like to do business with who they know or like or trust. And with SEO changing so much, people are getting more brand traffic if you're actually growing a brand, but it's usually agencies that are building that brand traffic. And so how can you measure that? Well, one way would be, are you seeing brand growth month over month?
True. Yeah, I agree with that.